It's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking NFL, Broncos, Patriots. Now through October 19th, we've got a promo code UPSET if you want to save 15% off anything on picksandparlays.net. Patriots favoring this one -9. The total is 44.5. The Broncos are 1-3, but they are 3-1 against the spread. The Pats are 2-2 straight up and against the number. Now, this game has been rescheduled a couple of times. All kinds of questions when it comes to some of the injured players on both squads. The Broncos have been dealing with all kinds of injuries, around 15 starters hurt, and then we don't know if Cam Newton or Drew Lock are playing at quarterback. So a lot of questions. So in this brave new era of COVID and injuries, we've got Lee from ASA joining us to talk this one. Lee, how do you go about handicapping this one?
Well, I looked into it, and from everything that I'm seeing based on practices Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like Cam Newton's going to be under center for New England and Drew Lock will be under center for Denver. As you mentioned, it's not as big a deal for Drew Lock to be under center, even though he is an upgrade over Brett Rippon. But Cam Newton is the key, obviously, to New England. He's a much better option than Hoyer or Stidham. I do like Denver in the points in this game. Denver is 1-3 on the season, but the teams that have beaten them, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee, are combined 11-2. General comparison, when they played Pittsburgh and Tennessee, Denver that is, they were a 6-point dog at Pittsburgh and a 1.5-point underdog to Tennessee. So based off of those numbers, which I would rate New England just slightly ahead of those two teams, this number has been inflated just a little bit. I would say probably by about 2 points because of the return of Cam Newton. But again, Denver lost those two games to Pittsburgh and Tennessee by 5 and by 2. They held both those teams, who are top 13 in the NFL in rushing yards per game, they held them to less than their season average in rushing terms. So even though they've played some great offenses, their rushing defense is 13th in the NFL in rushing yards per game allowed and 12th in rushing yards allowed per carry. So I like that aspect. New England's going to rely on the running game they have all season. They're a top 3 running team in several key rushing statistics. So if Denver can limit the big play and just contain Cam Newton somewhat, I think they can stay within the double digits. It'd be really nice to see 10 on this game. I feel a lot better with Denver at +10. Either way, I would probably side with the underdog here.
Right. I think there's a few things we can kind of judge by just the numbers. I think if the Pats are favored by 9, the odds makers are thinking Cam Newton's probably going to play. And then also you see that total is being pretty low at 44.5, which means they're seeing not a whole lot of points in this one. It's a lot of points to lay, especially with a total that low. Do you ever take that into consideration when you're placing some of your wagers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The total will factor in whether if you're on the dog or the favorite. And I think most people are going to be on New England in this game. Their long history of coming off a loss, they're 15-11 straight up off a loss dating back to 2003. Most recently in the last 10 years, they're 21-10 against the spread, but that was with Tom Brady under center. And interestingly enough, in those 31 games, their average margin of victory was 8.9 points per game. So slightly under today's spread on this game. So I think there's value with Denver.
Well, that's going to do it for our NFL talk here on Picks and Parlays. Always good insight from Lee. Lee, thanks for joining us.